We're here with Nichole Snow, the Executive Director and President of the Massachusetts Patient Advocacy Alliance. Nichole, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So could you just tell us a little bit about your background?
My background actually is a lot different than what I do today. It was in telecommunications, but I worked for a major telecommunications company for 15 years, and I got into a couple of car accidents which had a hindrance on my performance at work, and I eventually decided to retire because I was going against the grain, but I decided to use my experience and apply it to nonprofit management and work on getting the Massachusetts Patient Advocacy Alliance together and working on implementing the medical marijuana program.
Perfect. So what drew you to cannabis?
In 2008, decriminalization was passed in the state of Massachusetts, and that got me thinking on how we as citizens could change the law and maybe make medical marijuana accessible. My family members were suffering from cancer and suffered without the help of medical cannabis. And so after decriminalization passed in 2009, I went out to explore the political realm, and I went directly to the State House where I met a bunch of advocates that were working on the Humanitarian Care Act of 2012.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
In 2012, there were a bunch of advocates that were working in cannabis reform for several years in the Commonwealth for legalization and the medical use of marijuana. So it was a world to explore, and I love Massachusetts because of the advocates within it and their dedication to their cause. So, you know, on one side we have people that are advocating for the liberation of cannabis and those people that use it for adult use, but then there are also people that are very mindful of the patient use and the medical needs and humanitarian purposes of cannabis.
Oh, excellent. So how does the MPAA benefit patients?
Well, we work on a daily basis. I'm really happy to say that over the last 3 years, since the passage of the Humanitarian Care Act in 2012, we've been growing and organizing, but the Massachusetts Patient Advocacy Alliance does just that, advocates for patients and access. But now we've seemed to taken on our essential role, which is to advocate for the patient from start to finish. You know, it can be very tragic when someone is diagnosed with one of those qualifying conditions that are listed in the statute, and it could, you know, take a family and really distract them from what their everyday life used to be. And, you know, they're looking for a place to start, and that's exactly what we want to be.
Definitely, yeah, I can certainly see why that's very beneficial. So can you give me an example of, you know, like a patient that you've advocated for? Don't say the name, of course, but just an example.
No, actually, there's a patient in particular that we started out advocating for from the very beginning of the Baker administration, and that is Maddie Cole. And her mother, Lisa Cole, is a strong advocate for medical marijuana reform. She's a pediatric patient that suffers from epilepsy, and she's using a variety of medications, but her parents are strong advocates for alternative medicine and using that as, using cannabis as a part of their toolbox in treating these deadly seizures. So that is just one of the patients that we think about daily. Can people like Maddie, who is a pediatric patient, get access to the medical marijuana that is so essential to their life?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what would you say some of the challenges that you've experienced?
Communication was one of them from the very beginning, I think. A lot, you know, cannabis is medicine is new to all of us. So, you know, we have to be mindful of that. And I think that we've grown to understand that, professionals can work in this space, and communication is essential to move this industry forward and provide medicine to those patients that are in desperate need of it. So, I think it evolved for a little while. Through the Patrick administration, there was really no communication, but once Governor Baker got into office, he had a transition team that was somewhat a little bit more open-minded, I think. They really just wanted to get it right and not be in trouble so much. And so the doors of communication did open, and that's what we've seen, I think. That's what I think we've been really lucky to have, is the communication that we have now.
Wonderful. So what motivates you?
Wow.
Yeah, you sit and think about it.
I know. I mean, if that question is killing me.
Oh, stop.
No. It's like, it's because I haven't really stopped to think about it, but, at the end of the day, it's like the end result is the patient getting access, getting information, empowerment of that patient or family member that is trying to help their loved one is so essential to this program working. And I think really just the smile or having them understand that someone is there for them.
Yeah, it's important.
Oh, this is terrible. Cut! We don't stop. I think sometimes I have to scream stop and go in my room, but it really is from the very moment that we wake up in the morning, we're taking phone calls, and it's, a lot of it is triage, but a lot of it is, the bulk of it is building that foundation and having that long-term view.
When would a patient call the MPAA for assistance?
For new information, in general, maybe their family member is talking about it. Maybe when they have been stricken with an illness and they need someone to talk to. That's sometimes what I do. I'll spend a little extra time talking with the family or patient about whatever they might be going through. And sometimes that just starts off the journey for them collecting information for themselves. And, just getting acclimated with the medical marijuana program and the advocates within it is a very good start. Because, once you start going down this road of accessing alternative medicine, you realize that you have a lot more questions than you had in the very beginning.
Completely.
Yeah. So, we like to be there from each step of the way, but also, when patients have more serious questions when it comes to either custody of the children or, cannabis in the workplace, or, going through the criminal justice system, because a lot of times law enforcement can be confused about what a patient might be.
It's a learning experience for everybody.
Yes.
This is new for everybody.
Yes.
So you help law enforcement?
Yes, we do communicate with law enforcement,
awesome.
public officials, their attorneys, the district attorneys, and just so many members of the government that represent the people of Massachusetts. And I think it's like so incredible to be a part of this network of people that are just really trying to figure out how do we best serve our constituents. A lot of it is about public safety. Police officers want to keep their community safe, but maybe they don't know how to distinguish a patient for someone that might be exploiting the program.
Absolutely. Oh, that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if I was a patient in Massachusetts and I was looking to contact you, I mean, do you have an office? Do we call? Like, do we just pick up the phone and we reach somebody?
We have a website, compassionforpatients.com. Our information is listed, and you can email us directly, or you can contact us by cell phone and leave a message. We like to be really accessible because of the urgent needs sometimes patients might face.
So is there a typical patient profile that you serve?
Patients come from all walks of life, and you know, anyone can come down with a debilitating condition at any moment. So we like to think of it as we're serving your loved ones, and you know, you're serving your loved ones. So, you know, any patient can come from anywhere and at any time, really. You know, we've seen patients that were stricken with severe stomach syndromes that actually come from the clergy and that use medical marijuana.
That's awesome.
And you know, we've seen obviously children stricken with epilepsy use medical marijuana, and you know, we've seen people that have never thought about medical marijuana in their lives, but when, you know, they're faced with suffering in their end days, that's when they make the decision. So any walk of life we represent, so we're open-minded of everyone who needs access to medical marijuana.
Well, we really appreciate what you do. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.